Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Dribble, the show where we take a closer look into the Boston Celtics, the rest of the NBA, and whatever else might come up. My name is Luke Irwin, and I am your host. Today's episode, I am so excited for. It's a little bit different, a little bit unique, but I'm really excited. I've been looking forward to this episode for a long time. The Celtics had a very light schedule this past week with only 2 games. We'll quickly recap those, go over stats, what we saw, and then when you hear this noise, that means we're done talking about that light week for the Celtics, and it's time to move on to the rest of the NBA. But this time, we're doing No Hopes Hotel, and we are diving head first into Major Wager with an ultimate breakdown of the in-season tournament bracket. We do all of our picks. We have a whole scoring system. We go through each game in this upcoming in-season tournament knockout round. I'm really excited, and so so much to get into. And I suggest we do, because this is The Dribble. Okay, like I said, this is going to be a short segment on the Celtics. They had 2 games this past week. They won both of the games. If you did not know already, the first game was an in-season tournament game against the Bulls. We're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive once we do Major Wager. I'll talk with Tim about that. But to quickly go over it, we needed 23 points or more and a Nets win that night in the in-season tournament to qualify. Of course, we won by 27 against the Bulls, ran the score up, did a hack of Drummond, and then the Nets were able to win their game, so we were able to sneak into the NBA Cup knockout round. So I'm really excited for that. The Bulls game, we just showed that we can turn it on at any point. We knew we had to win by at least 23. We were up by 20 within like 10 minutes of the game. We came out firing and we held that lead the entire time and then ended up winning by 27. Not much else to say about that game. You know, the Bulls stink. Sorry, Chicago. Sorry, MJ. Sorry, Phil Jackson. Sorry, everybody associated with the Bulls that I like. The Bulls just stink. The Bulls are not a good team. Of course, they had their players-only meeting after the first game of the season, and here they are. You can tell they don't like playing with each other. You can tell that Billy Donovan does not have a grip on this team, so that's sad to see. But the Celtics were dominating. Let's go ahead and just move on, because, again, there's not much to say about that, to the Sixers game. Again, this game was not too remarkable. Super light week for the Celtics. The Sixers game, Joel Embiid did not play in this game. Tyrese Maxey did not play in this game. And Jason Tatum got ejected in the beginning of the third quarter. So it was really just like a depth test for both of these teams. Celtics ended up coming out on top, which is great. But overall, uneventful game. It was good to get a win against their second unit. But of course, I really want to see us do a head-to-head with Philadelphia full strength every single time. It's always a great matchup. And, see? I told you, okay, it's going to be a super short one for the Celtics. I know, but it was a light week for them. Let's go ahead and move on to the rest of the NBA. And honestly, y'all, I am so excited for this segment. We have an extra long segment of Major Wager this week. We're not going to be doing Hopes Hotel. All of the rooms in Hopes Hotel are solidified this week. I don't think anything changed. I think everybody in the lobby, in the parking lot, and all the rooms stay where they need to stay. I don't think anybody merited being taken out of a room or being given a room. So we are not doing Hopes Hotel this week. Tune in next week, though. There will be changes. But instead, we're going to do a very special episode of Major Wager. I'm super excited. I cannot wait for this. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into it. I'm going to bring in my degenerate gambling brother. You already know who it is. Timmy KGB, a.k.a. T-Bone Steak, Extra Rare, No Hollandaise. Get ready for it, because this is Major Wager. Small disclaimer here, by the way. If you notice something a little bit messed up audio-wise, there was a technical difficulty while filming this, but it still sounds good, and it's still a great episode. So enjoy. Okay, Timmy, what's up? Welcome back to another segment of Major Wager. How you doing, buddy?
Good. What's up, man?
Not too much. I'm really psyched, dude. I'm excited for last week's bet, and I'm really excited for today's episode because we got a special one that maybe helps you lose a little bit less money and gain a little bit more money. So I'm really excited to get into it.
Yeah, this is becoming do or die for me, and it's getting a little embarrassing. But
you're down to $350. That's pretty bad.
We don't need to repeat the number. We know the number. The people know the number. It's not.
Do the people know the number? For the people, I'm just going to put the number up real quick.
Okay.
It's 350, and I'm at 876, so pretty good.
Not 976.
Not 9. I repented, okay? I did not try to cheat, all right? I promise. Well, last week's bet, like I said, I won $426. Really just 326 on top of what I had. I had the Portland Trailblazers beating the spread, which was 11.5. They ended up winning that game outright. And then I also had the Utah Jazz over the Pelicans, which you had the Pelicans beating the Utah Jazz. So
yeah, I felt confident. I was like, all right, I'm doing the smart thing, just a straight bet. Yeah, the Pelicans, man. I was watching that game, and they have a hard time scoring when they need to, man. It was it was tight the whole way through. It was actually a great game.
Yeah.
But God, man, it was frustrating. I the whole time I was thinking they were gonna go on a little run and, if not cover my spread, at least win. But man, oh man, it was rough. So yeah, you surged ahead.
Well, I surged ahead. I felt confident in that one. The only one that I didn't feel confident in was the Trailblazers one. The reason I felt confident is because I said it on last week's Major Wager. There has been a trend in the NBA. The NBA is trying to like clump games in with each other, and there's been a trend of like beating teams back to back in these games. It's been 2 losses in a row, and it's basically every single time you play a team twice in a row in the NBA. I think it's like 10 times has happened already. They've beaten them back to back, and they played the Pelicans 2 days prior to that, beat them, and I felt like that trend was going to keep going.
Well, that also happens to be the case with one of our in-season tournament teams, so we'll see how that shakes out.
Yes, it does. Alrighty, well, let's get right into that. So I want to introduce in this week's Major Wager what we're going to be doing. Really exciting. We're going to actually be doing a bracket, some bracketology here on Major Wager. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick each game, and we're going to treat it like an NCAA bracket or any other bracket. And it's point system per win in different rounds. You get a certain amount of points. And at the end, the winner who has the most points in the bracket will end up just getting a bonus of $500. So there's no money that we need to put in. Tim, you will not lose any more money. It's 100% a $500 bonus for whoever has the most points.
Couldn't wager $500 if I wanted to, Luke.
True. Which I think is fitting, obviously, because the players, if they win in the in-season tournament, how much do they get?
500,000. This is our
500,000
mini bonus. I think we deserve it. We've been doing Major Wager. We've been working our fingers to the bone for 3 weeks or whatever it is.
Yeah,
we need a bonus, just like the players.
We're just as important as the players, and Major Wager is just as hard. It's just as hard. So let's go over who is currently in the tournament for people who don't know. The tournament has the Lakers and the Suns in the West, and also the Kings and the Pelicans. The Lakers are the 1 seed, Suns are the 4th seed. The Kings are the 2 seed, and the Pelicans are the 3 seed. And then in the East, we have the Bucks playing the Knicks and the Pacers playing the Celtics. The Bucks are the 1 seed, the Knicks are the wild card, the 4 seed, the Pacers are the 2 seed, and the Boston Celtics are the balls, but they're also the 3 seed. So we're going to go game by game, see what we pick. And for point system, just to kind of let people know, in the opening round, the first round of the knockout, if you pick correct, you get 10 points if you pick correct. If you pick the underdog, for example, if you pick the Suns over the Lakers, the Suns are the 4 seed, the Lakers are the 1, you get an additional half of what your point total is. So for example, 10 points, if you pick the underdog, you get 15, you get an additional 5. In the second round, if you pick correctly in a game, you get 20 points. And again, if you pick an underdog to win that game, you get half of the 20. On top of that, you get 10, so you have 30 total if you pick an underdog. And then the last one is 30 points total for picking the winner in the championship game. Again, if you pick an underdog, you get an additional 15 points, half of 30, so you'd have 45 points for that last one. Does that make sense to you?
Yep, totally. It's like similar to a March Madness bracket. And then the person with the most points at the end wins. You don't have to necessarily pick the winner, right? Just the most cumulative points will win the bonus, the $500. All right, I like it.
Yeah. All right, let's get this started.
I need this badly. I was sweating, filling out my picks, thinking if I lose this, it's over for me.
Well, that's why I wanted to do the bonus for you, because you don't have to put in any other money. But the problem with that is I don't have to put in any money. Yeah. So if I win, that Celtics jersey is looking like it's mine.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to. So let's go.
All right, let's start with the West. Let's start with the Lakers and Suns, which I think this is the hardest game in the entire bracket to pick.
Yeah, definitely one of the hardest. It's not the hardest for me, but it is one of them.
All right, Tim, I'm going to start with you, throw it to you. What do you think? Lakers, Suns, what do you got?
Yeah. So this is two teams that have been super banged up, obviously. On the Lakers side of it, we've got calf contusions, we've got groin issues, we've got guys in and out of the lineup. Gabe Vincent's missing some time. LeBron's banged up. Davis is always banged up. Yeah. So on the Sun side of it, we have the same thing, right?
Yep.
We have, Booker has this ankle injury. He missed last game. It looks like he's probably going to miss tonight. They're playing the Grizzlies. Durant's healthy, but obviously they haven't had Beal with this back thing, which is looking like they bought into a distressed asset there. I mean, it's I don't know. But I don't know. I had a hard time picking this game. And I'm picking the Lakers. Okay.
All right.
I'm picking the Lakers is like LeBron James magic. Like, it's stupid and not analytical, but I think Booker will probably play, right? Like, Booker is he's banged up, but I think he probably goes for this game. Is he limited? Is there a minutes restriction? Is he not himself? So that's one part of it. Yeah, the other part of it is just that, I could see this annoying Lakers narrative where LeBron turns it on and, whatever, they get a good game out of a couple of these guys and they pull out a win. So I ultimately, I was back and forth like several times on this, but I'm ultimately going to go with the Lakers here.
Yeah. Well, I was back and forth for the entire time, and I looked at some of the advanced numbers here. The number one thing that was making me go back and forth is exactly what you're talking about, LeBron Magic. They're 4-0 in the in-season tournament, and that is 100. They're not even close to having a record like that in the regular season. It's because LeBron in big games, he's that guy. He's him. He's going to turn it on. However, I'm going with the Suns.
Oh, really? I thought you were definitely going with the Lakers.
No, I honestly, if I could show you. Maybe I'll put a picture of it on here. But in my bracket notes here, I have
your Charlie Kelly notes.
Yeah, exactly. My Pepe Sylvia notes. I have linked to all these different things. I had Lakers written down about 6 times. But here's why. Overall, first of all, I think Devin Booker's going to play. He's questionable tonight against the Grizzlies. I think KD is also him in big games, and I think that they want to win this game. So I think he's probably said to Booker, just sit out the Grizzlies game and be ready for the in-season tournament. And if you look at the Lakers, overall net ratings and some of their season stats, they're so low. They're in the bottom of the league in everything. They're 20th in defensive rating. They're 25th in offensive rating. They're 22nd in net rating, and they're 25th in points per 100 possessions. So they don't play... That's bad. I mean,
not great. Yeah,
that's all in the 20s, and the Suns aren't that much better. But like you said, they've been riddled with injuries. They're 7th in offensive rating, 18th in defensive rating, 10th in net rating, and 7th in points per 100 possessions. So they're like the opposite script as far as what their team is. Now, if Booker can't go, my pick might be completely washed, but he's trending in the right direction. But yeah, it's a tough pick. It's, for me, the toughest in the bracket, but I got the Suns.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, this is a tough game. It really is. And it will in some ways depend on Booker, not only whether he plays, but whether he's, 100%. But yeah, this is a toss up. It's a hard one. I found a lot of these games really hard to pick, by the way.
Yeah, and also the other number that stood out to me, the Suns are remarkably good on the road. This is in LA. And so the Suns are 7-3 on away games. So I mean, that's a pretty great record. The Lakers are also good. They're 7-2 at home. All right, sweet. So that is first game of the West. We have the Lakers and the Suns. Tim picks the Lakers. I pick the Suns. Let's go ahead to the next West game, which is another really great game. We have the Kings versus the Pelicans. Going to be a really fun one, high octane. We have a lot of young talent in this game, and the Pelicans have been playing really well. Tim, I'm going to throw it to you again. Who do you got?
To me, this is the hardest one. Even harder than that Lakers-Suns game. So obviously, maybe I've just been burned by the Pels, right? They lost me this week in gambling, and they were sort of the one thing saving me from gambling oblivion. I'm not eager to bet on them again, but you had mentioned earlier in this segment, teams have played each other twice in a row, and so the Kings and Pels have played twice, and the Pelicans won both games, and one of them was close to a 40-point blowout. So Zion is really comfortable against this team. He's had great numbers. He's comfortable going up against Sabonis and stuff. So I should be picking the Pels, but I'm not. I'm going to pick the Kings. I really like the Kings. And here's the reason. Yeah, they've been coming into form, slower than some other teams. They didn't get off to a scorching hot start. But De'Aaron Fox, I can see this being his tournament. I really can. I mean, I love him.
Me too.
And I love watching him. I love his style of play. But I feel some mid-season light the beam energy going on here. I was thinking about like what kind of team is going to win this, and I'm not saying that the Kings are going to win the whole thing, but I think it's a young team. It's a team that has like a lot to prove, and like they're going to get it up for this kind of thing, and it looks like a lot of these teams have bought in, so that's effort's not an issue across the board. But I just can see the Kings just going out and getting a really tough win in this one, and then making a little run in the tournament. I love them here. I don't know. This one's a gut pick because again, these teams feel really even to me. Their records are really similar. And
their star power is similar. They have a lot of like young stars. I'm going with the Kings too.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, and you want to know the thing that tipped it for me? Because this was also a hard one. The West is tough. The West is tough in the regular season to begin with. But the thing that really tipped it for me in this is the home crowd. The home crowd for the Kings is the best home crowd right now, I think, in the entire NBA. They are vicious. Did you see the Warriors game against the Kings where they had to clinch?
Yes.
That
Amazing.
felt... The Warriors, who have been in a million finals and have been in the worst environments and have seen everything, they melted because that crowd is so vicious. They know their basketball. They know when to cheer. They know what they're cheering for. And then they have a bunch of... That was
an in-season tournament game, right?
Yeah, that was the one to clinch it. That was like Game 7. If the Warriors win, they move on. If the Kings win, they move on.
Didn't the Warriors need... This is where the point differential thing comes in. Didn't they need like 13 points and they were shooting and they kind of shot themselves out of it?
Yep, they needed to win by 12 at least.
Weird.
And then which completely changes the complexion of the game. We'll get into that after we give our bracket picks, but they needed 12 to win, and so they were just like shooting threes because they were up by 6, 7 with like 2 minutes left. They were shooting 3 after 3 to try to get to the 12, and then they ended up just losing the game.
Basketball in 2023.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. I cannot believe it, but I felt like it was the Kings' environment more than them because they can rack up points. The Warriors are great at that. But in Sacramento, I picked the Kings. I think the Kings are great. They don't have any notable injuries as of right now. And I know it's not crazy injuries for the Pelicans, but Jose Alvarado is out, and so is Larry Nance Jr. Again, not crazy injuries, but Zion is back. Zion looks really good. CJ McCollum is back. He's back in his full form. So
still no Troy Murphy.
And no Troy Murphy. So it seems like it's going to lean Kings, and like you said, De'Aaron Fox, and they know how to take on a big game. So, I'm picking Kings hard in that one.
Okay, good. Are we going to do the whole West first, or are we going to move on to the East?
No, let's go to the East first. Let's go back to the East. So, all right, the East. We have the Bucks, who can't play a lick of defense, against the Knicks. This is a really good one. This is the 1-4 matchup. The Bucks were 4-0 in the in-season tournament, which they've been slipping. I mean, they just lost to the Bulls, and the Bulls didn't even have any of their good players except Caruso. They had Caruso, but that's it.
It was an embarrassing loss. Yeah,
that was one of the most, and I watched most of that game. That was one of the most embarrassing losses I've ever seen. Their defense is so bad. It is one of the worst defenses, perimeter defenses in the entire league. They are 6th in offensive rating, which is good. Obviously that's a strong outing for them, but they just aren't very good. Their defense is not very good, but I'm picking the Bucks.
Yeah.
I'm picking the Bucks in this one. I love the Knicks, but who do we trust? Do we trust Julius Randle and RJ Barrett? And I mean, I trust Jalen Brunson, but in a big game, it's Dame time. And I think Dame is going to come down. And he's still been doing that in the fourth. He's still top in clutch shooting this season. But I'm picking the Bucks in this one just because Bucks Knicks. Sorry I have a couple friends. Shout out to my friend Chris Langone, big Knicks fan, but I'm picking the Bucks.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Bucks all the way in this one.
This was the easiest pick for me.
Me too. I mean, really, because you want to pick against the Bucks, right? You're like, oh, the Knicks, because again, they kind of fit the bill of the Kings, like what I was saying earlier, like it's super young, but I don't know, like you could see Brunson going off and whatever. But no, I see this as, like you said, Dame time. It's also just a good matchup in general for the Bucks. I think they beat the Knicks earlier this year by 5, but I think in general they match up well against this team, and yeah, I think that they will sort of turn it on. They see the narrative, and players care about this in-season tournament, and I think there's gonna be a pride element with the Bucks.
Yeah,
like They want to prove something, and they want to win this game. So
their name is in the media in not a good way right now.
Yeah.
And if they can do something in the in-season tournament to turn that narrative around, that would be huge for them. And obviously, who on this Knicks team is going to stop Giannis? Really?
Yeah.
Like who can do that? Not Randall. Randall is good for a potentially good shooting night, but he just had one, so now he's due for 3 bad shooting nights in a row. And they're not going to be able to stop Giannis. I think he's going to go off, and then it's going to be Dame time in the fourth, and I think they're going to move on.
I agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So let's go on to the next one, which is a surprisingly tough pick, especially for us Boston boys, our Celtics against the Pacers. Okay, the Celtics number 3 against the Pacers number 2. Tim, I'm going to throw it to you for this one. Celtics Pacers, who do you have pulling this one out?
This is a tough one. And again, this is one I changed over and over. All right, so obviously the Celtics beat the Pacers by, 50. What was it, 50 earlier this year?
Something like that.
No Halliburton. That seems like the type of game that this young team is gonna like. They're glad they're playing us in this tournament. They're like, okay, we got embarrassed earlier this year. We didn't have our guy. We're gonna crush this Celtics team. Halliburton's awesome. I mean, he's gonna be great in a game like this. Again, they totally fit the bill of that young team is gonna have the energy and want to win this thing.
Yep.
And yet I'm picking Boston. And it's not a homer pick. It is actually, but
I was going to say it sounds a little bit like after what you just said.
But here's my thing. I don't know. Watching that last game that the Celtics played to get into this tournament, going into the game against the Bulls, it's like, all right, you have to win by 23. This isn't going to happen. We don't care. I mean, like really, like are we going to care that much to blow out a team? And it's like, yeah, we did actually. Like. I was surprised at the level with which we had all bought in, the Celtics, that is. And, everyone's been talking about Haka Drummond in the fourth, up by 30. And you're like, wow, these guys want to win this. And,
dude, Billy Donovan's face.
Oh, so funny.
So funny.
When Joe was like explaining, like, I'm sorry, sir. Like
he was like, I don't mean to,
And I don't know. Everyone's been talking about that, and it is kind of ridiculous. But those are the rules, and I think it would have been so easy for the Celtics once they had secured a win there to just say, "Look, it's a long season. Like we don't care that much about continuing on in this tournament," and they totally did. So it seems like if the Celtics' effort level is going to be, if their desire to win this tournament is going to be high, they're the best team in the league, and they're the best
easily
tournament. So I do think. It's going to be tough. The Pacers are going to be out for blood, but the Celtics, are the best team in this tournament. And if they want to win, they can win. So I think they're going to win this game. Do you have the Pacers? I have a feeling you do.
Well, I'll get to that. First, in that Bulls game, I saw a funny comment on like the final frame. Like it was an Instagram post that showed the point differential or something. And somebody had this funny comment. I don't remember who it was, but it was an NBA player who commented on it and said basically like, just a thought, Joe should tell the Celtics to win, that they need to win by 27 every game, because they just played on it. It was just a thought, coaching strategy. Tell them that they need to do this every game.
That's so funny. It's so true.
Did part of you think that we were going to lose it when Coach inexplicably, with a minute and a half left, with only we needed 23 and we were all up by 27, he inexplicably with a minute and a half just took the starters out, and I was like, if we lose out on the tournament because he did this weird thing to like show sportsmanship, I'm gonna be so pissed.
I don't really know why that happened. If you're gonna do it. But yeah, luckily he put them back in, and it was fine. Or did he? Did they go back in?
No, he didn't. Luckily, Peyton Pritchard and Hauser were on one that night, so it was good. But
and that Bulls team, talk about. they don't care. That team gave up on their coach. That team is just a disgrace, honestly.
Yeah, I feel bad for Billy Donovan.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so what do you think?
So for this, if we do look at the injuries right now, it's nothing serious, but Tyrese Halliburton has not been playing with a bone bruise. And then Jalen Smith is out with a heel. He averages like 11 points for them, nothing crazy. But Tyrese Halliburton is the story of this team. He is so good. I think he's going to be good to go. But he has this team number 1 in offensive rating in the league. And he has them number 1 in pace in the league. So they play fast and they play offense correctly. He averages 12 assists per game, which leads the league. And he also averages, I forget for points, but he is such a dynamic offensive player, and he might give Tyrese Maxey a run for his money in most improved, because he is
a couple guys.
There's a couple guys.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys. But Here's where it switches and why I'm picking the Boston Celtics. Because their defensive rating is 28th in the league. And their net rating is 13th, so they're middle of the pack. But their defensive rating is 28th. And this Boston team, we saw it against Chicago, if we put our mind to it, we can score at will against anybody. The Celtics played only 2 games this week, so we're fresh. We haven't had a long slate of games. Tyrese is amazing, but he only averages 25, and then the 12 assists is great, and they play at a high pace, but we have a great defensive unit, and we have a great perimeter defense. So he's obviously on the perimeter. They don't have a lot of big men. Miles Turner doesn't scare me, never has. We've kind of dealt with him. Horford plays pretty good defense on him. But yeah, I got to give it to us. I mean, we're 9th in offensive rating, 3rd in defensive rating, and we are number 1 in net rating. We're just the best team in the league. And I think with the porous defense of the Pacers, I think it's just going to be I just don't think they can contend. We might score 155 again.
I was going to say, bet the over in this game.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it is. I think it's going to be like 130s and 120s. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the second round.
Let's move on to the second round. We got the Suns and Kings. All right, so Suns and Kings. This one is an interesting one. It's gonna be a fun matchup, I think. Again, the Suns are the wild card team. The Kings are the 2nd seed in this, and I don't have a lot of notes on it. I'm going 100% by gut. I'm going with the Suns.
Oh,
I am riding the Kevin Durant train in the in-season tournament. I'm taking a gamble on it because they have a lot of health issues. But if it kind of all hinges on Booker, right? If Booker's back for this Monday game or Tuesday game against the Lakers, then I think he's going to be back in the whole in-season tournament. And with him and KD, they've been great. They win most of the games. And then KD's playing at an MVP level. He's averaging a ton of points. He's playing efficiently. He's playing good defense. He's playing well within the team. And I think that, Nurkic has been impressive for the Suns too. And the Kings, I don't think they're going to be able to ride that beam against somebody who's a little bit more composed and more used to situations like playing in a Sacramento or playing against this high-powered offense. I don't think there's anybody on the Kings that will guard Durant. They're very guard heavy, and then they have Sabonis, but I don't think there's anybody who's a wing defender who's really going to be able to step up to Durant. I think he's going to average 35 in the in-season tournament, and I think they pull out a W.
I like it. Yeah, I kind of agree with you about that matchup. If I had the Suns in the second round, I think I'd choose the Suns over the Kings too, but I don't. I have the Lakers. So I had described this sort of war of attrition, this sort of injury-ridden game that I think the Lakers can eke their way out of versus round 1. But I think it catches up to them in round 2. I have the Kings winning this game versus the Lakers for me and going to the final.
Let's go. I love that.
Like I said earlier, I mean, it's like picking a March Madness bracket. A lot of this is vibe, and not super analytical for me because that's bracketology. But I like the Kings in this tournament. I can just see them catching fire, and I think for a Lakers team who, as we said, is older, has some injuries, I think they get it up for the first game and they sort of disrespect this opponent and they get bum rushed. I can see the Kings just sort of just outscoring them and getting a big lead and sort of protecting it for this game and it being one of those type of games. They're like the Pacers in some ways. I mean, their offensive rating is near the top of the league. I don't know exactly what it is, but they can score easily, get up into the 120s and 130s, and I think they do that against this Lakers team, and they send them home. So I mean, again, Kings going all the way. I just feel like in one of the two conferences, there's going to be a sort of not random team, not that the Kings are random, but a team that you don't expect going all the way to the final. And I think it is the Kings that are going to Vegas.
Wow. I love that pick. And I think they've played the Kings twice this year and they've lost both of the games for the Lakers. So the Lakers are 0-2 against the Kings. They match up well against them. Anthony Davis has a problem scoring on Sabonis. I like that pick a lot. And then
the Kings just play faster and with more energy.
Yeah, they do. And I don't think the Lakers are too old, and their supporting cast is not the type of supporting cast that can keep up with them.
Okay, so good. I'm glad we have more disagreement here.
All right, so let's go to the East. The East for me, I had the Bucks versus the Celtics. Both of us had the Bucks versus the Celtics.
We both had that, yeah.
Yeah. Quickly, because again, I think this is for me an easy one. I'm going with the Celtics. Going with the Celtics, and this is a bit of a homer pick, but it's also not because we have beaten the Bucks in big games for the past 5 years. And I love Giannis. I think he's crazy hard to stop. But Al Horford is the Giannis stopper. I'm putting everything on Al Horford, and I think Porzingis will be back. Al Horford does a great job of clamping him down, and I think Joe always schemes right against him. He doesn't throw too many double teams at Giannis. He lets Giannis work on the block, and then he pushes him out to the three-point line. And if Giannis is shooting those long-distance shots like he was against the Celtics 2 weeks ago, then we can just beat this team. And then, Drew Holiday has always had a easy time on Lillard. He really plays him well. He's played him a couple times when Lillard was in the Trailblazers, and he dominates him. And so we have great perimeter defense. And then we know we've been playing enough against Giannis where I think we know the game plan. So for this, I'm picking the Celtics. And it's also because the Bucks are 17th in opponent 3-point percentage, and they're 18th in opponent field goal percentage. And we have people who can make threes. And so, I mean, that's bottom barrel as far as protecting the 3-point percentage and just overall field goal percentage. So for that, I think we'll be able to hit shots on them. And then their defense can't stand up to, we just have too many people to throw at them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm picking the Celtics too. We have the same exact East, which is funny, but
yeah,
you said it too. I mean, this isn't a no-brainer. I think this game will be really close and like really tight. I think if it does come down to these two, this is like, what more could you ask for in the in-season tournament? I mean, I know the Bucks haven't been playing their best basketball, but they are one of the best teams in the East, and this could be a potential Eastern Conference Finals preview, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I see it being super close, gritty, but you said it. I mean, the Celtics scheme up really good against this team. Horford, you said it. He's going to play hero ball. I think I can see some crucial Horford block or something like that. Drew taking a major charge, and it'll be.
Also, our big men are great for Giannis because they shoot. Al Horford shoots threes, and Porzingis shoots threes. And if you chase Giannis off the block, he's out of the paint. Tatum will eat. Brown will eat.
And that goes double if Porzingis is playing, which we don't know. But I could see him playing for this. I don't know exactly when this game's going to be, but I like this one for the Celtics. Like you do. So we have this. Both have the Celtics in the final, which
yes, we do.
Might sound overish, but again, they are the best team in the league. I mean,
it's hard not to pick them, and also whatever. We're homers. All right, everybody out there who's like these Irwin boys are just picking the Celtics as their homers. Yeah, we are, because the Celtics are the balls. That's what it is, all right? The Celtics are the balls. So let's move on to the championship, the Vegas championship for all the marbles. We both have the Celtics. I have the Suns in the championship, and you have the Kings in the championship. The beam, light the beam. Timmy, who you got winning it?
Okay, so Kings Celtics in Vegas. Every part of me wants to pick the Celtics here, but I'm going with the Kings.
They're
my tournament darlings. I mean, I don't know, man. Can I predict the future? Clearly not. But
clearly not.
I've been saying it this whole pod. I just have a feeling this team is going to go on an offensive tear, like they've sort of been on all season.
Yeah.
And especially De'Aaron Fox. I just see him lighting up this tournament. I think it's going to be a team like that. I don't think the winner of the in-season tournament is going to be the best team in the league, like the Boston Celtics, or even one of the top teams. You can see who's in there, right? I mean, a lot of our best teams, like the Sixers and Nuggets, aren't in there. We've got some great teams. Every team is really good, but I just think the Kings are going to be hungry. They're going to play fast, and I think it's going to be one of those games, an offensive showcase on both ends, and it's going to come down to who has the better game. And I think Fox is just going to have a great final game. So it could go either way. I can't believe I have the Kings going all the way. And, it's a little bit like March Madness, and it's going to be a little random. We'll see. But I don't know. I like them here. As much as I want the Celtics to win, and I think the Celtics are going to want to win, I just like the Kings.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. I think the Kings are the one team, if you ask me prior to the season, who would be a surprise team to win something like this, who would be the Kings. They remind me the most of a college basketball team too.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they're very fast, they're very young, youthful. I think they're really high up in pace. I think they're number 3 in pace. Pacers are number 1 in pace. But they play so fast, and they've been in big games. They were a good team last year. They've been in some tough battles, and again, they're one of those teams that in these types of games, I can totally see them pulling one out. I
I
love
could
that. I
also
love that pick.
totally see them losing to the Pelicans in the first game.
I was going to say they're also young and they don't, I mean, they're still the Kings. There's a huge chance that Zion goes off for 35 in that first game and they don't even, you end up crossing the rest of that bracket off. I'm not even, let's not put it out there though.
I'm seeing it in my mind's eye. Like, you know what I mean?
I already saw it.
This is the thing. This is why the in-season tournament is so fun. I can just see myself glued to that game, that Pelicans Kings game, the first game, and just like shouting at the TV. Like,
yes. And why would you ever, in any other year, in December, would you be shouting or even give a shit about watching the Pelicans versus the Kings or watching, any of these games, really? I mean, that Magic Celtics game, we talked about it last week. I mean, my blood pressure was really high watching that game. I had to go to the doctor for it. All right, so I had the Celtics and the Suns. So you have the Kings winning everything, right? I have the Celtics and the Suns. Indeed. This is an interesting game because, believe it or not, KD and Tatum actually have like a long history of playing big games against each other. And Tatum plays really well against KD. So you can see where this is going. You can see where this is going. I have the Boston Celtics winning the first ever NBA Cup, raising it high. Jason Tatum won the first ever Larry Bird Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And he's going to win the very first NBA Cup, and he'll win the MVP for it too. I'm just saying, this guy is a king of firsts, and I think he's going to beat the Suns. I think he just poses, especially with any injuries like Beal, if Beal isn't going to be in there, which it looks like he's out for several weeks, but he plays well against KD. All these other teams, the reasons I have the Suns going deep is because nobody else has anybody who can really guard KD on the wing, and I think the Celtics have it.
You know who plays great against the Celtics?
Who?
Booker.
True, 70.
70 against us.
70.
I mean, he loves playing the Celtics. He's a killer.
70 dropped in the Garden, too. Yeah. It was a Celtics home game. Yeah, he kills us. But I mean, it'll be in a neutral location. It'll be in Vegas. I think it'll be a high-powered, high offensive game. I think we're both 8 and 9 in offensive rating. But I just think the Celtics will come out, destroy people like Grayson Allen. I think Nurkic will have a huge issue with Porzingis and Horford and even Cornette. And I just don't think Nurkic can do that. Nurkic is a fine offensive player, but he's going to be running around. He's going to be on the three-point line trying to guard Horford in the corner, and he's going to be inside trying to get to Tatum on a drive. And he's going to be back and forth. And I just think we're going to run them inside and out. And I just don't think they're going to win. And I'm a homer, and I'm gladly a homer. Let's go Celtics. I got them winning the first ever NBA Cup.
It would have been so annoying if we had both picked the Celtics to win this whole thing.
Yeah, I would have, if I was really a listener.
This is now I'm going to have to be, maybe for the first time ever, really rooting against the C's in that first game against the Pacers.
Yeah.
Just blow up your bracket.
You would just blow it up.
I mean, come on.
And I'm going to be, well, we both have
that game. None of these games are so, that game, I could easily see it as one of these frustrating, we just sort of get run out the building.
Totally.
Games.
So I'm going to put up our picks here. Tim, run through what you have in each round.
Okay, so in the West, I have the Lakers beating the Suns, and I have the Kings beating the Pelicans. In round 2, I have the Kings beating the Lakers, making it to the final. In the East, we both have the Knicks beating the Bucks beating the Knicks, and we have the Celtics beating the Pacers, and we have Bucks Celtics. We both have the Celtics going to the final. My final is Kings, Celtics, and the Kings win.
Yeah. And then I have, obviously, the Suns beating the Lakers in that game. I have the Kings beating the Pelicans. And then I have the Suns beating the Kings to get to the final. And then, like you said, we both have the Celtics going all the way. And then I also have the Bucks making it to that second round game. Real quick, before we sign off, I think this is going to be an awesome bracket. I can't wait to keep up with it as the week goes. I'll be posting updates and everything on Instagram. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great one. I want to ask, though, or more say, total success for the in-season tournament. I was a doubter, maybe not total, but like for a first run, a trial run, absolute success. For a fan, from a fan's point of view, I think it's a huge success.
Definitely. I mean, they've been fun to watch. The games have been really good. A lot of them have. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I do think it has accomplished its goal of like making stakes, like creating stakes in a time of the NBA calendar that doesn't normally have, that is very low stakes. I do think though, like there are tweaks. Like I don't like personally love the point differential thing, and it was just one of the weirder nights in the NBA I've seen. I mean, it was a great night, this final night of group play. But we talked about this the Bulls Celtics game. Like it's just a type of basketball I've never seen. And the Warriors game, it was that's
Weird.
they would have won that game if it wasn't for the if it wasn't for that 13 point victory that they needed to have. So I don't know. It feels like a bug, not a feature, that part of it. And then the other thing that I would say is I really wish it could be consolidated so that like for I don't know 2 to 3 weeks every game is an in-season tournament game instead of just being on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah,
because I think it would sort of add to the drama of it and like this
and
is
it would subtract from some of the confusion too. The fans had a lot of confusion on. I mean, I put out an episode kind of detailing the rules of the in-season tournament, how everything goes, and even me, I had to stop and like check because it's like Tuesdays and Fridays they play. It's like it's a little confusing. If I agree, if you just had it more consolidated and have all the games in that week. That way, it'd probably be easier for scheduling. And I have a JB quote I want to read real quick after that Bulls game, talking about how just the weird mix of emotions, especially in American basketball. It's just not like American basketball. Typically, they have an in-season tournament in Europe, and Porzingis was like, this is normal. I'm used to, playing for point differential. My entire life, everything was about point differential. We've always had that. So for me, that's part of basketball. But he played so much in Europe. And JB said after the game, he was asked, like, the weird mix of emotions on trying to run up a score. And he said, it's tough because that's just not how the game is supposed to be played. One, you got to respect your opponents. And two, it's just a weird setup. We understand the rules, but if I was on the other team, I'd be upset as well that we were doing a hack a Drummond in the middle of the fourth quarter up by 30, and it's just the American rules are pretty much like you stop playing after you've beaten them. 3 minutes left, you're up by 30, you just stop. You just let the other people get their chance to play, and you don't try to embarrass a team. And
on the other hand, don't get blown out.
That's what I say.
If you don't want to get embarrassed.
Like, what's the fix? Like, what do you think a fix for that?
I don't know, dude. I'm an idiot. I mean, you leave that to the bean counters.
The beans.
I agree with what you originally said. It was a huge success. It was the tournament has been great, and we're saying was. I mean, it's just getting going. This is going to be the best part.
I'm excited to see how it develops over the next couple of years too, because now that we've had some data collected, we've seen kind of and I think the biggest upset from players, especially because I think the Players Association will probably come to the NBA with some notes. I'm sure it's going to be about point differential. It was weird. I mean, it was weird to see the Warriors lose a game because they were hunting for threes. It was weird to see the Celtics take this team that had a players only meeting after day one, and they're just reeling, and they don't like their coach and they don't like each other, and we just like wouldn't stop hitting them. Like it's like that Simpsons meme where he's like,
Stop! He's already dead.
And we just did that. And so it's weird, and especially as somebody who's been only watching American basketball, you're just so used to not seeing that. But it did make, for fans' perspective, it did make things exciting.
Yeah. I can't wait. These games are going to be great, especially the Monday games.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And I'm excited to get this bonus $500 and go way up on you.
Like I said, man, I need it. So
you do. You do. All right, man. Well, this has been a great episode. I'm excited to see how everything goes. And for everybody listening, I'm going to go ahead and give everybody updates as the week progresses. And then next week on Major Wager, we're going to go through everything and see how everything ended up.
All right.
All right, dude. May the best man win. Wow. We just broke down the entire NBA in-season tournament knockout round bracket, game by game. Whoever at the end of the entire thing has the most points in this bracket wins $500 bonus dollars. We put in no money, so that's going to be really exciting. Before I wrap up, I'm going to go ahead and just do what I always do, give the slate of games. I'm going to do some in-season tournament games, right? So tonight, Boston Celtics, Indiana, 7:30, in-season tournament game. round 1. And then we also have New Orleans Pelicans at Sacramento Kings, like we just talked about in Major Wager. That's going to be an incredible segment. I can't wait for that. That's at 10 o'clock tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, still more in-season tournament action. We have New York Knicks at Milwaukee Bucks at 7:30. And then we have the Phoenix Suns going to the LA Lakers at 10 o'clock for the first round of the in-season tournament. The next games after that, for the in-season tournament, for the next round, round 2 of the knockout round, will be played on Thursday. The teams are to be determined. Again, super exciting. And then the championship of the in-season tournament will be held on Saturday, December 9th at 8:30 on ABC, home of the NBA Finals. The championship game will be held. So that's going to be super exciting. Can't wait to see who gets there. Can't wait to see how things line up. So yeah, tune in next week. This has been fun. This has been The Dribble.